Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. In today's video, we are going to be continuing Jujutsu Kaisen: The Spire's Curse. What if Miles Morales was Sukuna's vessel? Season 1, Part 5. As always, if you're new to the channel or if you're a regular and like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. First and foremost, if you have not seen the first episode of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, please check it out. The animation, everything is just insane. And young Gojo, boy oh boy, if I had the swag of a young Gojo, but that's besides the point. As we get into today's video, guys, we are halfway through Season 1 officially. We have now gone through the first 13 of the 25 episodes of Season 1. So with that being said, we are going to be culminating in the mid-season finale, if you will. And also, I do want to announce that while we won't be doing Season 2 of this series this year, it's going to be saved for next year, we are going to be covering Gojo's past arc as a mini OVA special for this series this year. So I do hope you'll enjoy that. Now, anyway, without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. It was a slow evening as Junpei made his way home. He could see his teacher sitting on the stoop near his house. The fat slob was sweating away in the basking sun. Why was he here? Junpei thought. Well, the teacher was here to talk about Junpei skipping school, talking about how his friends were going to be missing him. His friends? The guys that beat him, picked on him, lied on him? The one that burnt cigarette butts on his head? Yeah, the teacher was a piece of work. A loser who didn't have a spine of his own, who turned a blind eye to the true injustices of the world. The last thing Junpei wanted was to listen to anything this fat waste of space wanted to say. Although he wouldn't have to. From out of nowhere, he saw Miles flying into the air, grabbing away at some small little creature. For Miles, the plan had worked, just as Ichiji had said. The boy could see the cursed spirit. After getting the teacher out of their hair, Miles decided to talk to him. Of course, Ichiji wasn't there at the moment since he was dealing with his own mistakes and misfortunes at the time. And as such, Miles decided to question Junpei himself. The two got along well enough, even though Junpei was a bit weary. He had spent some time with a being known as Mahito. He was told about Jujutsu sorcerers, and that he should talk to them if he ever were to encounter one, although he thought they were enemies. All the same, he and Miles were kindred spirits in a sense. The two of them talked about their enjoyments, what they liked in life, and they both got along fairly well. So much so that when Junpei's mom arrived, she invited Miles over for dinner. Even though Miles questioned Junpei about the movie theater incident, it wasn't anything with malicious intent. He just wanted to try to figure out what had happened. And seeing as how Junpei wasn't involved and didn't have the power to do anything, then there was no reason to push it any further. As they all enjoyed a dinner together, and the two boys even got a chance to watch a movie, Junpei couldn't help but ask him what it was like to be a Jujutsu sorcerer, and even more so, if he had ever killed anyone. Of course, Miles hadn't, but Junpei wondered if he ever would. After all, if Jujutsu sorcerers were the good guys, what would he do if he ever came across a bad sorcerer? Would he kill them? I don't know, man. I don't really think I have it in me to want to do that. But bad sorcerers are evil. Shouldn't you want to kill them? I wouldn't say it's so much about want, Junpei. More than it's just a matter of, well, I believe every life is precious. If you just go around taking lives, well, then it means that everyone's for forfeit. I mean, once you start taking a life, at that point, is anyone's life fair game? You just go down this deep, vicious cycle, a rabbit hole you can't come back from. And you know what they say, an eye for an eye. Everyone will end up blind eventually. On some levels, that made sense. But at the same time, for Junpei at least, there were some people you could just never forgive. In the meantime, Ichiji had to go and pick up Nanami after his fight with said cursed spirit Mahito. He wasn't suffering from any damage too severe, but at the same time, dealing with someone the likes of Mahito was a lot easier said than done. An infantile cursed spirit that was only just coming into his own. They had to exorcise it quickly, otherwise it could be troublesome. But it wasn't just that. It was the fact that there were multiple talking and conscious special grades starting to emerge. They all had to be connected somehow. He feared that what Gojo had reported was right. The balance of power in the Jujutsu world was definitely starting to shift, and a new level of power was starting to brew onto the surface. He wondered if he was even going to be able to keep up. But for now, he would do the best that he could. Sadly though for Junpei, his life, it only went from bad to worse. He had left the home that morning. His mother, when she awoke, she found a strange object in their possession. It looked like a finger. What she didn't notice though were the cursed spirits behind her. At the scene of the crime, the only thing that was left was her upper torso. The bottom half was covered in ice packs. It was horrible. Junpei couldn't even process what had just happened. As he walked into his mother's closet, he just put on the first thing he could find, a black jacket. When he learned about the fate of his mother, he asked Mahito how it could happen. Mahito explained that a cursed object had been left in the residency. It's one that was of high value, something that someone only with power and connections could get their hands on. When he asked Junpei if he could think of anyone of that sort, he thought about his bully at school. He came from a wealthy family. If there was anyone capable of doing such a thing, it was him. For Mahito, though, his plan was going well. As he stood on top of the school roof waiting, as a man with stitches across his forehead would arrive. Geto, you made it. Mahito, you seem to be doing well. I must say, you're a lot different from Jugo. You actually plan and think things through, despite being such an infant. Oh, well, I try. But still, I think the plan's coming together nicely. We need this conduit to put things into motion, to get Sukuna to be drawn out of Miles Morales. I figure the best way to do so is to build an obstacle, something that he can't overcome. I see. And you've even gone and put up a veil. Remember though, you'll have to be wary. Jujutsu sorcerers will be on your track soon. Oh, it's nothing I can't handle. Aren't you going to stay? Unfortunately, I can't, my friend. I have other matters that I need to attend to. However, I do wish you luck and prosperity on your endeavors. Mahito smiled as now his plan was set into motion. Junpei made his way through the school. The students who couldn't survive the pressure of the cursed energy passed out. save for the bully that Junpei had his eyes on. He lifted him up into the air as he used his own Shinigami, a jellyfish-like creature. He called it Electro. He would use cursed electricity to shock and stun the boy, along with giving him a dose of poison. He was going to make him pay for what he had done to his mother, slowly and painfully. And even if he wasn't responsible, it didn't matter. He was going to die here anyway. However, the one thing he didn't expect was Miles to appear, now donning some weird-like mask as he went swinging in, using his own powers of electricity, the Venom Blast, shocking away at his own Shinigami, as the two of them went fighting through the school and they arrived on the top floor. What's the meaning of this, Junpei? Stop getting in my way, Jujutsu sorcerer. This has nothing to do with you. What? You're trying to hurt innocent people. Innocent? Oh, trust me. They're far from innocent, especially that one. After what he's done, you can't stop me now. The heart is nothing more but an illusion. It's not real. In the end, it's all just for show. It's pointless. You don't believe that. You're just putting up an act, a front. I've seen it before. I've seen people like you. You don't know anything about me. I do. I know that this isn't the type of path you want to walk down. As the two continued their fight, Junpei would use his Shinigami to try to keep Miles at bay, although it was easier said than done. With Miles' training under Gojo, he had learned the best way of dealing with the Shinigami user was to attack the caster directly. With a venom blast to the gut, Junpei was falling to his knees. Junpei, stop this madness. Your mother, what would she think if she saw you like this? My mom. She's gone! What? It's their fault. Tell me, if a person had a heart, then how would that be? If someone with a heart could curse me and my mother, who had never done anything to them, then what kind of world is this? Junpei would tell Miles what had happened. And for Miles himself, the gravity of the situation only weighed down on him further and further. What right had he to say anything? I mean, at least his parents were still alive. Granted, they probably suffered with the knowledge of their son's death, but at least they could live. But for Junpei, he had no one. Come with me, Miles would say. Come to Jujutsu Tech. There are a lot of people there like you. You can be trained and you can get stronger. And I promise you, we'll find who did this to you, to your family, and we'll get revenge. Is that right? The two boys looked up at the staircase as they saw Mahito. Miles, this having been the first time he came into contact with the cursed spirit, as he was attacked by him. Junpei tried to get Mahito to stop, but this was all a part of his plan. He would transform Junpei. Using his curse technique, he would affect his soul, transforming him into a blobbering monster that was in constant pain. The monstrous Junpei would attack at Miles, Miles having no way of stopping him No way of turning him back. He even tried calling out to Sukuna, but Sukuna laughed in his face. What happened to all that bravado you had before, kid? Talking about how you were going to become the strongest and how you didn't need my help. Oh no, but now you grovel at my feet. You throw your principles and everything you believed in to the side the moment you realized you couldn't save anyone on your own. No, I'm not gonna help you. For one, I hate your guts. And two, I just love watching the hypocrisy of humans. Because you foolishly believed you actually had a chance. Your friend's going to die. And in the end, you will suffer for your arrogance. His pathetic life is going to be over. And it's all your fault. It's all your fault, Miles. It's all your fault. Both Mahito and Sukuna laughed, stirring Miles' anger even further. His anguish and his despair, only raising the level of his cursed spirit energy, to the point where he would begin to charge against Mahito. He would shock him with multiple attacks of Venom Blast, as the two continued their fight all throughout the school. As Nanami would arrive, the two of them would work together to fight against Mahito, who was growing in power. However, the now destroyed corpse of Junpei, or whatever was left of him, there was still a small part that clung to life. It clung because of his anguish, of his sorrow. But he too heard the laughter of Mahito and of Sukuna. And now there was only one thing that was on his mind: revenge. Revenge is what fueled him. It's what drove him. It's what pushed his anger to the forefront. On the outside, Miles and Nanami were doing their best to fend off against Mahito. Mahito had even gone to the point of using other shriveled up humans that he had experimented on, young children he had mutated into creatures of nothing but anguish and pain. Miles would place his palm on their foreheads as he would issue out a quick venom touch, taking their lives instantly. He didn't want to do it, but he didn't have a choice. His anguish only fueled him further. And for Mahito, in his own arrogance, he had attempted to morph and mess with the soul of Sukuna, even while using his own domain expansion, and for that he paid dearly. For Mahito, he was preparing to go on the run, knowing that now he would need to retreat. But before he could, as he attempted to jump through a sinkhole, he would instead find himself jumping through a black hole instead, as he landed back onto the ground. Both Nanami and Miles looked as they saw something entirely different. A humanoid figure, entirely white and covered in spots. This day is just full of surprises, Mahito would say to himself. So, who are you, my friend? What? You don't remember me? That's okay. You will. The man covered in spots would start to create spots, literally, all across the battlefield. Every time Mahito tried to escape, his body ended up getting stretched in every direction, as the user of the spots would pull in each different way, forcing Mahito to stretch to his limit. Both Miles and Nanami would take their chance, Nanami using his curse technique ratioing all of the stretched parts of Mahito that were now a lot weaker as his body was now pulled to its furthest extent, and Miles following behind with the shockwave of his venom blast. Mahito knew he couldn't survive too much longer, and in his only desperate move, he would congeal all of his remaining pieces of himself into one large figure. All three would attack at the same time, but it was nothing more but a decoy, as the real Mahito would escape into the sewers, slinking away, now not with any sense of confidence but with dread. Was that Junpei, he thought? How had the boy become so powerful? He knew he had affected his soul. Was he just that strong? Or rather, did the boy's willpower and hatred propel him to a point that he was able to stitch himself back together somewhat? And on top of all of that, he got a new technique. This wasn't good. But now, though, he had two people he wanted to kill. Miles Morales and Junpei Yoshido. Both Miles and Nanami would stand in place. They watched as the man covered in spots looked at his hands, examining himself, before he looked towards the two of them. Junpei, is that you? It's gonna be alright. Just come with us, and we can... No. I hate cursed spirits. But I don't trust you sorcerers either. You couldn't save me. I had to save myself. And besides, I'll never work with you, Sukuna.
Aw, what's the matter? Did the little baby get his feelings hurt that I didn't save you? Or are you upset that your mommy died? Don't worry, she got off easy. Had I been there, I would have made sure you watched what I did to her.
Keep talking, you piece of shit. I don't have the power now. Even I can admit that. But the next time we meet, Sukuna, you won't have to worry about Jujutsu sorcerers or other cursed spirits getting in your way. Because I'm not gonna try to exorcise you. I'm gonna tear you apart!
So, the little bitch decided to put on his big boy pants, huh? You declaring war on me? That's a very foolish decision. You're talking a little too reckless right now. And I think it's time a boy recognized to be in a boy's place. You wanna try me, kid? Well, guess what? You got an open invitation. Anytime, anywhere, any place. You want some? Come get some.
Before Miles and Nanami would have a chance to stop him, Junpei would disappear. Nanami could only shake his head. Things had just gotten way more complicated than he had ever hoped that they would be. Now Junpei had been transformed into God knows what, and God only knows what he was going to do between now and then. And on top of that, Mahito had gotten away as well, which couldn't be a good sign, especially for things that were to come. But for Miles, though, he was only left with a deepening sadness that welled up within himself. Junpei was a good kid, and in the end, he still couldn't save him. For now, though, he wondered what he could do. What on earth could he do? He couldn't stay stagnant the way that he was now, but at the same time, he knew that he still wasn't strong enough to protect those he cared about or to save anyone in a meaningful way. As he spoke with Nanami, the only thing he could do was move forward. The fact of the matter was that being a Jujutsu sorcerer was not for the faint of heart. In this business, you were going to see people die. Those who were good and those who were evil. The only thing guaranteed to everyone is life and death. Although how you get to that point, well, that's a road that many people go down in many different ways. Not every good person gets to die in peace and comfort, just as not every evil person gets to truly pay for the sins that they've committed. But in the end, you keep moving forward. Every day that you live to save another life is a victory. And for Miles, he always had to remember something that was very important. The symbol of the power that was born to him. That with great power also comes great responsibility. It's not enough just to not do harm to others, but you should try to do as much good as you can. Even when something doesn't concern you, when something doesn't bother you, even if something's not of any concern to you at all, if it's not your problem, you don't just go through life and ignore it. If you have a chance to do good, then you owe it to do good. For Miles, as long as he lived with that mentality, then he would continue to fight. He would continue to battle against the cursed spirits. He would save anyone that needed him. Because after all, this is why he was given the power. He was, he is, and for as long as he can, he will be Spider-Man. This concludes Jujutsu Kaisen: The Spider's Curse. What if Miles Morales was Sukuna's vessel? Season 1, Part 5. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue Konosuba: The Adventures of Spider-Ham. What if Kazuma was Spider-Ham? Season 2, Part 1. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.